I'd like to welcome everyone to the July 25th, 2024 regular meeting of the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners. And we will begin our meeting with an invocation from Pastor Ben Marsh from First Alliance Church, and it'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Woodbury. And if you are able, please stand.
Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to gather for decision-making to bless our county. Lord, in the middle of a time of political violence and civil strife, would you grant Forsyth County the good gift of peace? Would you give us in our differences the ability to always continue communicating, to seek the good in one another and for one another, to bless one another as you have taught us to love our neighbor as ourselves. Knowing full well that we do not always know the right path, would we have the humility to seek you and to seek one another for advice, guidance, with good, open, listening ears and kindness in all things. Fill us with your joy even in these moments. And Lord, thank you that you are with us even now. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Marsh. Citizens who are interested in participating in the public session portion of the meeting, you may do so by calling 336-422-1200. You will be placed on hold until the public session begins. And members of the audience who are here today wishing to speak during the public portion of the meeting, you just need to fill out a speaker card, and they're outside on a little table, and you could even do that as late as right now. So you're welcome to do that. And for those of you calling in, the number again is 336-422-1200. Before we actually get to our business items on the agenda, we have some representatives from Forsyth County 4-H and Boys and Girls Club, and they're here to speak. And I'd like to ask, there are actually three folks come forward. Lucy Mahaffey is one, and Emmanuel Bundar and Jewel Mayberry. And Lucy is a member of 4-H.
Thank you so much for having me today. 4-H in Forsyth County has had lifelong impacts on me and so many of my friends, and I am still only partway through my 4-H journey at 14 years old. My name is Lucy Mahaffey, and I am delighted and honored to have the chance to share with you today some of the wonderful things I personally see 4-H in Forsyth County doing, as well as some potential growth opportunities for youth in our county. Some things that I see our county doing really well is sending delegates to different 4-H conferences and competitions. And even though we aren't sending large groups, we are at least showing up when some counties unfortunately don't have any presence at state and national events. I also think that we have a strong service presence in our county. We have several ongoing relationships with several different nursing homes and food banks that our counties routinely make visits to. I also think our club membership does a great job of mixing agriculture, STEM, horticulture, forestry, wildlife, and environmental habitat protection and management in our different clubs. As for a couple of growth opportunities, we in Forsyth County 4-H do feel the whole of the loss of our wonderful former 4-H agents, Dr. Monique Pierce-Brady and Mrs. April Bowman, as they have gone on to pursue other jobs in the last 6 months. I believe that our youth programming is worthy of attention and support from the county, and I can't wait to see who our new agent will be. Something else that I think we can do a better that we can do better about is having a greater presence in Forsyth County schools. I am hoping that the new agent will bolster 4-H and public schools. Also, like so many other organizations, 4-H took a big hit during COVID in involvement and membership. I don't have a current answer to this problem, but Forsyth County 4-H is important and offers so many opportunities for youth to be involved in positive activities, and it's worth our time and attention. I am honored to be our county's youth delegate at the NCACC annual conference this year, and I would be thrilled to have each of you attend the Saturday morning youth involvement breakfast with me. Again, thank you for the chance today to bring 4-H to the forefront for a moment. With its longstanding traditions and forward movement to stay relevant, it continues to be a strong organization. I think there is great meaning in the two 4-H mottos, to make the best better and to learn by doing. I look forward to seeing what Forsyth County 4-H will do in the future, and as our 4-H pledge states, I pledge my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health for better living. For my club, my community, my country, and my world. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. Let me say one thing before you guys go, because Lucy did a better job than I did on the introduction, because I meant to say that all three of these young people will be participating in the Youth Voice program at the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Annual Conference, which we are hosting in August. So I think you've already heard from Lucy. I think she has a strong voice, and we're really happy to have Emmanuel here, Emmanuel Bunder, and Jewel Mayberry. So either one of you can go first, and we're pleased that you're here. Yes.
So
And both Emmanuel and Jewel are members of the Boys and Girls Club. And you don't have to say anything. If you'd like to, you're welcome to.
So, that's enough.
Let's see. It's okay.
It's okay. Jewel, how about you? Anything? Well, we will see you at the Saturday morning breakfast coming up in about a week and a half, and we will look forward to that, and we appreciate you representing youth in this county. Thanks to both of you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask, what school do they attend? What school do you all attend?
Emmanuel and Jewel, what schools do you all attend, by the way? Flat Rock?
Okay.
Okay. I didn't hear you. Could you?
Oh, okay, you're transferring out of the county.
Thank you. And Lucy, I've met her mom and dad both. I know she's homeschooled, so good.
Great, thank you.
Chairman Martin, before we continue, does the board mind to get a photo with all of the folks?
Oh, that's great.
Okay,
Great
thank
idea.
you.
You want us to, once you three come back up, and we didn't have that, we'll get a picture. We want to, maybe, or they could do up here. Why don't you guys come up here and stand behind us? And then we can get probably everybody in the picture. And you could just line up right here. Pretty good.
Very good.
And I'll get over out of the way, and you guys make sure you can see photography. Thank you. Thank all three of you. Gail Swain, our Forsyth Safety Analyst, is here to present the North Carolina Department of Labor Safety Awards. And so, Gail, if you just come right forward and look forward to that.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Gail Swain, and as stated, I am the Safety Analyst for the county. Also with me today is Christy Byers, and she is the Risk Manager for the county. Today, we are recognizing 14 departments for achieving the Department of Labor Safety Star Award. The North Carolina Department of Labor Safety Awards program is administered through its Education, Training, and Technical Assistance Bureau of the Occupational Safety and Health Division. Through the Safety Award program, private and public agencies that achieve and maintain good safety records are recognized. This program is designed to stimulate interest in accident prevention and to promote safety in the workplace by providing an incentive to employers and employees to maintain safe and healthful workplaces. To qualify for the annual safety awards, the departments must first have no fatalities during the calendar year at their site or location for which the award is given. And second, they have to maintain an incident rate of at least 50% below the average for the industry group. There are 2 awards that the agencies can receive. The Gold Award is based on days away, restricted, transferred rate, which is also called the DART rate, which includes cases of days away from work, restricted activities, or job transfer. The Silver Award is based only on cases in which days away from work. They are recorded when the worker misses at least 1 full day from work, not including the day of injury. We are proud to announce that 12 of our departments received the Gold Star Award and 2 of the departments received the Silver Award. So at this time, when I call the department names, can the director or a representative please come up to the front to receive your award? The Gold Star Award recipients are Tax Administration, the Register of Deeds.
Why don't you guys just remain up front and we'll get a picture at the end? That'd be great. You could actually, you could even go around the.
Map Forsyth, Interagency Communications, Health and Human Services, Environmental Assistance and Protection, Court Services, Cooperative Extension Service, Community and Economic Development, Behavioral Health, Budget and Management, and Communications. The star recipients are the Department of Social Services and Smith Reynolds Airport.
Wow. Great.
Congratulations to all of you for your achievements, and thank you, Commissioners, for allowing us to do this.
Congratulations to all of you. If you get them together. Or you want them in front? Todd would like for you to be in front of the podium for the picture.
That's great.
Certainly, congratulations and thank you to all of you, not only for being here, but for your safety record for the year. All righty. First item on the agenda is a public hearing on the petition to close an unopened right-of-way off Gloucester Drive. And we've been briefed a couple of times from Shaylee Bowen from Map Forsyth, and she can review this request briefly, and we'll be ready. We'll have the public hearing.
Okay, so as you said, Commissioner Martin, we've briefed this a few times. However, just as a quick review, the petitioner was Mr. Johnny Gross. He petitioned Map Forsyth directly on May 14th. His request was to close a portion of the undeveloped right-of-way Well, there it went. Thank you. That is between his property and his neighbor's property, Mr. Johnson. There we go. Go back one. The area requesting to be closed is approximately 200 feet by 60 feet, and it's between 2701 Colchester Drive, which is Mr. Gross, and 2695, which is Mr. Johnson. Here is the plat where it was originally dedicated in 1975, and here you can see it in zoomed view. There are the properties, and around this line of trees is where the undeveloped right-of-way stands. And here is a street view. Planning and Development saw that there were no reasons not to close the right-of-way. Signs were posted on July 3rd, and Mr. Gross did his part in posting to the Winston-Salem Journal and sent all his neighbors certified mail notice of this public hearing. With that, are there any questions?
Any questions? We're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing, and speakers will have up to 15 minutes total to speak in favor of this request and up to 15 minutes total to speak in opposition. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of the petition? All right. Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the petition? I declare the public hearing closed and would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a motion by Vice Chair Wizenhut. Second. Have a second by Commissioner Bessie, basically to close this section of right-of-way. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. All right, the next item on the agenda is a resolution recognizing the 50th anniversary of the Preventative Dental Health Program at the Department of Public Health. And I'd like to invite Dr. Kathleen Stanton, dentist, who is here to receive the resolution, and Commissioner Woodbury will actually be reading the resolution. You can come on up and turn around, that's good. Yes, and for anyone else you'd like to include,
Brought some of the
certainly may.
staff.
Thank you. This is a resolution recognizing the 50th anniversary of the Preventative Dental Health Program at the Department of Public Health. Whereas in 1974, under the leadership of County Commissioner Dr. James Ziegler and Public Health Board member Dr. Harry Spielman, Forsyth County, in partnership with the Forsyth County Dental Society, established the Preventative Dental Health Program to improve local outcomes in oral health. Whereas this year marks the 50th anniversary of the operation of the Preventative Dental Health Program at the Forsyth County Department of Public Health. Whereas public health plays a critical role in advancing health equity and preventing chronic diseases and injuries, resulting in improved health outcomes for the people of Forsyth County. Whereas oral health is essential to the health and well-being of our people, whereas the mission of Forsyth County government is to help create a community which is safe and healthy, convenient, and pleasant to live in, with educational and economic opportunities for everyone. Whereas Forsyth County Health and Human Services, the Department of Public Health, and the Cleveland Avenue Dental Clinic continue to fulfill this mission through the Preventative Dental Health Program by providing non-clinical, community-based educational programs to school-aged children and their parents. Whereas the Preventive Dental Health Program completes oral examinations, refers children with potential dental problems to licensed dentists and counsels, and educates children and parents on oral health care. And whereas the Preventative Dental Health Program works part and alongside the Cleveland Avenue Dental Center to provide high-quality and accessible dental care in Forsyth County. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners hereby recognizes the 50th anniversary of the Preventive Dental Health Program and encourages our residents to recognize that Health and Human Services, the Department of Public Health, and the Cleveland Avenue Dental Dental Center are working to ensure that all residents live in a community that is safe and healthy, adopted this 25th day of July 2024.
I'll second that motion. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thank all of you for the great work that you're doing. It's great to celebrate 50 years of service. So, thank you. If you guys turn around, Todd will probably get a picture of you. There he is right there. Why don't you guys stay up here and let Todd Luck take your picture. Thank you. Next item of the agenda is a resolution recognizing August 1st through 7th as National WIC, Breastfeeding Week in Forsyth County. And Assistant Health Director Nicole Pretty is here to receive the resolution, and Vice Chair Wizenhut will actually read it. And Nicole, if you're here, yeah, great. Anybody else that you'd like to have join you, that's good.
This resolution recognizing August 1st through the 7th, 2024 as National WIC Breastfeeding Week in Forsyth County. Whereas human milk provides unique nutritional and non-nutritional benefits for an infant's growth and development, reduces the risk of infectious and chronic disease, and protects mothers' and infants' health. Whereas the U.S. Department of Agriculture Women, Infant, and Children, WIC, program promotes and supports breastfeeding as the best source of infant nutrition and empowers WIC participants to meet their individual breastfeeding goals by providing tailored, evidence-based WIC food packages and WIC breastfeeding support resources. Whereas the Forsyth County WIC program serves 9,500 individuals in the county by providing nutrition and breastfeeding education, as access to healthy foods and peer counselors. Whereas in appreciation of breastfeeding individuals and all the dedicated volunteers, professionals, community organizations supporting their effort, the United States Department of Agriculture has proclaimed August 1st through the 7th, 2024 as National WIC Breastfeeding Week. Whereas the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners joins the Department of Agriculture in acknowledging the exemplary work, the WIC program, and in recognition National WIC Breastfeeding Week. Now therefore be it resolved that the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners hereby recognizes National WIC Breastfeeding Week and encourages all residents to recognize that Health and Human Services, the Department of Public Health, and the WIC program are working to ensure that all residents live in a community that is safe and healthy. This will be adopted the 25th day of July, 2024.
Second that motion. Discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimous, and thank all of you for being here to celebrate the week coming up. And happy to, if you'd like to share anything, that'd be great too.
She doesn't want to.
Well, you do have to turn around and have your picture made. So there you go.
She will do that.
The fourth item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing the execution of an opioid settlement with the Kroger Company and approving the second supplemental agreement for additional funds relating to the settlement of opioid litigation. Our county attorney briefed us on this last week, and I'm happy to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Vice Chair Wizenhut.
Second.
second by Commissioner Linville. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks. The next item on the agenda is a resolution granting Mark Davidson a hardship exception to the residency requirement for the position of Airport Director. I have a motion. Motion made by Commissioner Bessie. Second by Commissioner Wilson. First get in there. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your right hand. All righty. Carries unanimously. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes for the meeting of June the 27th, 2024. Have a motion.
So moved.
So moved by Vice Chair Wizenhut. Second, please. I'll be happy to second. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your right hand, please. Motion carries unanimously. Madam Clerk, do we have any callers or speaker cards?
Mr. Chairman, we do not.
No, we do not. It's a pleasure to turn the meeting over to County Manager Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, Commissioners, staff, and guests. The items before you have been briefed twice and questions answered by staff. Agenda item number 8 is a resolution awarding a contract for the purchase of 11 Ford Interceptor police pursuit vehicles. This is to purchase vehicles from Capital Ford in a total amount not to exceed $465,850.
A motion.
Move to approve.
Motion from Commissioner Linville. Second from Commissioner Vice Chair Wizenhut. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item number 9 is a resolution authorizing the fiscal year 25 purchase of pharmaceuticals by the Forsyth County Pharmacy. This agenda item approves an amount not to exceed $3,846,000. $3.3 million is for prescription medications and $546,000 for over-the-counter meds.
Do we have a motion?
Move approval.
Motion by Vice Chair Wizenhut, second by Commissioner Bessie. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item number 10 is a resolution authorizing execution of an agreement between Forsyth County and Wake Forest University Baptist Medical Center for mammography screening, chest x-ray, and diagnostic services. This agreement is in an amount not to exceed $115,000. Deputy Manager Price emailed a memo as a follow-up to questions from last week. The fees are set by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
We have a motion. Motion by Commissioner Bessie.
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Wizenhut. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item number 11 is a resolution authorizing execution of an agreement with Wake Forest University Baptist Medical Center for medical director services at the Forsyth County Department of Public Health. This agreement would be effective from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027, and total payments would not exceed $582,912. Deputy Manager Price also sent a memo about this item. What I would propose, instead of 3 years, we could look at doing at least 1 year and try to negotiate optional 2 years with them. An annual cost would be $194,304. That would allow us to bid out the services this year.
I'm happy to make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Wizenhut. Any discussion? In favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item number 12 is a resolution selecting and authorizing execution of a contract with SNME Inc. to provide construction materials, testing, and special inspection services for the Tanglewood Clubhouse project. This would be in an amount not to exceed $140,000. Deputy Manager Sanders Pratt sent a memo outlining that various firms have been used in the past for these types of services. One of the main drivers for selecting this firm was their availability.
Move approval.
Motion by Vice Chair Wizenhut. Second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Linville. And in discussion, I'd just like to thank Damon for sending that out. That was looked at about the last 10 years or 10 projects that we had, quite a diversity of testing companies, and that was very helpful. Thank you. All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item number 13 is a resolution awarding a contract to Brooks Lumber Company doing business as Brooks General Contractors for the Annex 1 Auditorium renovation project. This was the lowest bidder with a total contract amount for construction not to exceed $291,220 and authorizes the county manager to execute change orders up to $25,000. ARPA funds are being used. Deputy Manager Sanders Pratt also sent a memo outlining the good faith MWBE efforts.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Vice Chair Wizenhut.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Linville. Any discussion?
I do.
Go, please.
Yes, I do have some discussion and a few questions. And so, and I want to thank Deputy Manager Pratt for spending about 2 hours with me, I think on a Friday. I think he and I both left here last Friday after 5 in trying to help me to understand this MWBE piece with this contract. And I am still very concerned that awarding a contract that doesn't meet minimum expectation of MWBE, of course, in light of the good faith effort, which then sort of allow the contract to move forward, is concerning, and that's regardless of a rule or law, because we know that sometimes the rule and law don't necessarily align with what is just and right. And so I do want to raise that issue. But my question, and I may have been remiss in seeing the documentation that supports the good faith. So I know that there needs to be an affidavit and then the supporting documents to show that the contractor, has done everything possible to have MWB participation, but is not there. So can you, Deputy Manager Pratt, kind of give us the short version of, are the supporting documents in that memo that you sent us that the vendors provided to us to show that there had been good faith efforts?
So the affidavit is intended to be that document where they are attesting to having done the advertisement, making available quick pay and the other methods that they provide to show that they're making a good faith effort. So that document is actually what they have to submit. Now, they do have an additional document that just shows that they have a quick pay policy, but that was really the only other support document that we had.
So no documentation showing how they had advertised in order to attract MWBE to participate in this?
Purchasing likely does have that, and I can get that. What goes with their file is really that affidavit, that swearing to that they did it, but then purchasing likely does have some of those documents. I might turn to the attorney, see if he want to add to that.
There were various emails that had been sent out to a number of minority and women headed firms, and so they did provide those as part of their documentation.
So when you say various, do you mean 5, 10, 20, like how?
I think it depended on the trade, but I don't remember off the top of my head what those were. We had the committee that went over that, and Darren of City County Purchasing presented that, and it was numerous pages of documents.
Is there a part of this good faith, I guess by law or rule, that there has to be calls made to the MWBEs, or is that just a part of the general advertisement?
It says contacting there are 10 different types of efforts, which are set forth in the statute. It's 143-128.2 subsection F, and there are 10 different types of activities that could be undertaken. And so what the county is required to do is to give a score up to for each of those efforts. And so if they have to reach at least 50 points to be considered to have made good faith efforts. And so, for example, the first one is contacting minority businesses that reasonably could have been expected to submit a quote and that were known to the contractor or available on state or local government maintained lists at least 10 days before the bid or proposal date, and notifying them of the nature and scope of the work to be performed. And so there were a number of emails that were sent out to contact these firms.
So basically, as it relates to advertisement, you can email, call, and those meet the qualifications or the expectations in order to meet, good faith effort. Is that?
That's correct.
So when we talk about the committee that goes through this process, is that an in-house committee that made up of, who's that committee?
So Darren Redfield, the head of City County Purchasing, James Anderson, I believe, was part of that from our General Services Department, Deputy Manager Sanders Pratt, and I was also part of that. So those, were there anybody else, or is that it?
That's it. So generally the manager's office, purchasing, construction management, and the attorney's office.
Okay.
All of that information was sent out to us this week.
Yeah, I thought I saw the email, the list of addresses. It was long. I'm sure it's a list that's available that is sent out repeatedly to contractors that are, and a lot of contractors, I think, get on that list a lot through work with Forsyth Tech. I think that's another place where that gets a clearinghouse.
And I thank you for sharing that. And again, I stayed with Mr. Pratt 2 hours. I think, my strategic questioning is for the good of the public, the citizens that are concerned about MWBE and the process, at least through the county. So I want to be very responsive to those who have put me in this seat to make sure that it is an equitable process. And I think only if I can ask a few questions and then invite the citizens to be a part of this process by attending the meetings and reaching out to staff to get a better understanding, to make sure that at the end of the day, that this is an equitable process by which we, of course, award contracts, and definitely by way of the representation of Forsyth County being a very, diverse citizen base, that we are in turn very mindful and strategic around how we award contracts based on the representation of citizens. And so, in other words, just to have plain talk, economic equity is a real issue throughout the country. And I was just in Guilford County at an economic equity summit, and the citizens there are concerned also about when we talk about the budgets of cities and counties and school districts and who get the awards of those contracts, and when it is not a fair and reasonable representation of the citizens, there is going to be concerns. I am very concerned about this, and I, look forward to the citizens of Forsyth County holding every last one of the commissioners accountable to how we approve and award contracts, so that it is again truly representative of how we do business. And so, based on what I have been told, and obviously have looked at the information and talked to Deputy Manager Pratt, I don't think that it was a truly good faith. I don't see how there was really, I'm concerned about the process. Let me just say it like that.
Do we have any other discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since Commissioner Woodbury has raised some questions, let me see if I can elicit some clarification on some points. For the county attorney, do I understand correctly, if not, please correct me, that state law establishes the specifics of what the county is permitted to do in terms of MTV,
Yes.
They're either participation or good faith effort.
Right. So if the contract comes back and there's an affidavit filed and they have met the 10% goal, they're presumed to have made good faith efforts. So that's done. We don't do any review. If they don't meet that 10% goal of minority or women businesses, then they're required to submit the affidavit of what efforts they did undertake. And as I stated earlier, there are 10 factors that are included in the statute, and the county can give 10 or more points for each of those factors. And if the contractor can demonstrate that they have at least 50 points, that is considered to be a good faith effort. So we can't say to somebody, I don't care if you got an 82, we're still going to reject you. We can't do that.
And this may be for your office or it may be for Mr. Sanders Pratt. Is there simultaneously a look at the other bidders who were not the lowest bidder to see whether their subcontractors achieved the 10% goal?
I believe we have that information, but that's not part of the analysis.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes. So we do know their percentage, but the low bid has to show their good faith efforts before we would go to the next one. And then the next one, if they don't meet the goal, then we go through the same process with them, and then the next one until we reach one that did, or they all passed the good faith efforts, or the next one that passed the good faith efforts.
And that is the process prescribed by state statute?
Yes.
As the county does not have the authority to, introduce its own deviations to that process?
So if you make the good faith efforts successfully and reach 50 points, that's considered the equivalent of the goal.
That's definitive?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Other questions? I think we're ready to vote. We've had a motion and a second discussion. All in favor, please raise your hand. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-1. Thank you.
Agenda item number 14 is a resolution approving the tax collector's annual settlement for fiscal year 23 to 24 and prior years. Our senior tax manager, Tisha Leach, will come up to say a few remarks about this item.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity that you've given me to tell you a little bit about my time in the Tax Collections Department. Again, my name is Tisha Leach, and I'm the Senior Tax Manager, and I have been with the county for about 10 years, and all of this time has been within tax. I wanted to speak briefly about my time in collections for the past year. Coming from the assessing side of tax, I started working in collections last September for the first time since being employed with Forsyth County. Prior to my arrival to collections, I didn't really know what to expect from the staff or what was expected of me. On my first day, I realized that there were 3 revenue collector vacancies with 1 pending retirement coming within a month's time, making it a total of 4 vacancies to start. Just a little bit of context is, at full staff, we would normally have 7 revenue collectors in total. So with that being said, I was going in working with 3 active revenue collectors, which is alarming just within itself. At that point, I'm thinking, what do I do with less than half staff and a prior year's collection rate, the second highest ever? Well, what I did know was that I didn't want to let my staff down, the tax office, John Burgess, or myself down, and that I needed to fill some positions and build a unified team of collectors. Next, I thought, how can I help motivate the staff and keep them encouraged? I decided that starting with myself, if we maintain a level of respect, trust for the team, a willingness to learn, and most importantly, teamwork, then mixed in with that the use of invoice collection protocols, a strong leader, that would be basically all we need. After formulating a strong plan of execution and lots of training, my team set goals for themselves, and as a group, they dug their heels in and strived for success. Through it all, as a team, we learned that teamwork with the incorporation of the love for the jobs that we do, care for the citizens of our community, and the balance of the two, there is no way we could lose. And in doing so, we created a cohesive, persevering, strong-willed team. We also continue to bring to service the We Care principles in all that we do by using collection protocols, which include doing field visits, assisting with payment agreements with a level of understanding, courtesy, and empathy for our citizens. This, I feel, has gained us a greater level of respect from our community, and with that, we all win. Although there were hills and valleys along the way, this has been an exciting journey for me, as well as my amazing team that are here. I would not want to be here today without them. They have shown resilience in the face of adversity, and I'm super duper proud of them and the job that they've done over the past year, and I hope you guys are too. Thank you for your support, and thank you to my team.
Thank you. How about if all the team would stand up so we could kind of see you? All right. Counting heads, I didn't quite get to 7, but you may have somebody. Now, did you get your full staff employed?
Our full staff, and I'm so excited.
I can tell. Well, you did a great job under sort of challenging conditions at the beginning. So, hats off to all of you. Thank you.
So 14 really is the agenda item, essentially states the tax collector has done everything that she could have done to collect taxes on whatever property that may have been available.
Move approval.
Have a motion from Vice Chair Wizenhut. Second from Commissioner Bessie. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
We can take items 15 and 16 together. 15 is an order of the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners in accordance with General Statute 105-373, 105-321, 105-330.3, 153A-156, and 160A-215.2 for the collection of 2023 and prior year taxes. And then the order of the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners in accordance with General Statute 105-321, 153A-156, 160A-215.2 for the collection of 2024 taxes. This agenda items essentially just orders the tax collector to collect those taxes.
We have a motion.
I'll make the motion if I don't have to repeat that.
Motion by Vice Chair Wizenhut. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Bessie. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
And the last agenda item is for you, Mr. Chairman.
I know we have a little special presentation with our Deputy County Manager. This is actually very bittersweet. Probably it's bitter for us, probably sweet for you. I guess that's how that goes. But this is a proclamation recognizing the accomplishments of Damon Sanders Pratt on the occasion of his retirement. I did check with him today. He's got busy. He's going to stay till August 2nd, and then he's going to come do some other work in August. So he's going to be around a little bit. So, whereas Damon L. Sanders Pratt has been employed by the Forsyth County government beginning in September 1996, and has worked his way up through the organization, serving as budget and management analyst, deputy clerk to the board, special assistant to the manager, assistant county manager, and from 2009 until now, deputy county manager. Whereas Damon Sanders Pratt has impressive academic credentials, including a Bachelor of Arts degree in economics from Washington Lee University and a Master's of Public Administration degree from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Whereas Damon's service to the community includes both prior and current involvement with numerous groups and boards that include Forsyth County Smart Start, North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, North Carolina Local Government Budget Association, Forsyth Futures, YMCA, Novant Health Foundation, Twin City Youth Soccer Association, American Heart Association, Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, and the Lions Club. Whereas his name and service also extends to his church, where he serves as the superintendent of Sunday school, deacon and chair of the deacon board, teaches Sunday school in the absence of any Sunday school teacher, handles the preparation and execution of annual Vacation Bible School, and leads pre-service devotions. Whereas Damon has led the county efforts to build many new facilities, including a new courthouse and central library in Winston-Salem, and branch libraries in Kernersville and Clemens, the new Calliope Museum, new parks in Tobaccoville and Ballew's Lake, improvements at the Public Safety Building, and critical facilities across the county. Whereas many of the direct service departments reported to Damon, including emergency services, the county's library system, cooperative extension service, and the county's parks system. Whereas Damon's co-workers benefit from his distinctive laugh that can often be heard emanating from his office, creating a wonderful work environment even in the most stressful and trying times. He often takes the pressure off situations and lends the larger perspective to those involved. Whereas Damon displays servant leadership, treats every person with civility, trust, and respect, and acts as a selfless mentor and always displays positivity and optimism. Now therefore be it resolved that the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners hereby recognizes Damon L. Sanders Pratt for his years of outstanding and distinguished service to the citizens of Forsyth County, state of North Carolina, this 25th day of July 2024. I'm happy to make that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioners Linville and Vice Chair Wisenhunt. I don't believe there's any discussion. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Damon, we got it.
Well, standing here today, I want to express appreciation for opportunity and chances that people have given me here and throughout my career. In short, Marty Lawing, when I came out of grad school and didn't have my diploma in hand yet, and gave me an opportunity to be a planner in Bennettsville, South Carolina, to come into the county, and Ron Graham and Joe Bartell, and then the budget staff interviewing me as a group and giving me a chance to join here at the county, and then Jane Cole pulled me over to the manager's office, and Graham and the other commissioners thinking that I warranted the opportunity to come here and try my hand over here in the manager's office. And then an unexpected departure happened in the manager's office, and then Dudley was hired shortly before that, and inquired if I was interested in trying something else, and put my hat in the ring, and I did. And we've been on a ride for a while, going through economic downturns, and September 11th since I've been here, and pandemics, and fire studies, and just a variety of things. And being here with Commissioner Wisenhunt, my classmate, who came on the same year, and Mr. Linville before I got here, and just the board generally. Always being collegial, even when they didn't agree with one another. It's been a great place to work. I had amazing coworkers in the manager's office that make this a fun place to be, not a drudgery to come to work to. I have to thank my wife, who has been married to me for 30 of the 28 years I've been here, right? And kind of seeing things were easier when they're tougher, and help you kind of get through those. And I just really appreciate this opportunity to kind of serve my community and on important projects that I can see here that the board has trusted me with doing. So I really appreciate that. I will be around. There are people who I wish were here that are not here right now to kind of share in the moment. I feel like it's a little embarrassing to even do this in a way, but I think that they would appreciate it also. So I thank you, and again, I'll be around and look forward to working with you in the future on various projects. So, thank you.
Thank you, Damon. As mentioned, we're going to have a reception for Damon, actually, right out here after we're going to adjourn, have a briefing, which will be brief, and then we will be out to have a reception. So, congratulations again, Damon. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to say that yes, Damon and I started about the same time, and when I was introduced to him, I said, when in the world did the county start hiring babies? He was so young. But there's a retired county manager here that I think's homesick. He might want to have a few words to say about you too, Damon.
Now, or you want me to do it out there?
Whichever.
Whichever you want to do.
Both, whatever.
Chair Martin, I guess, after Mr. Watts have a few words.
Yeah, I'm glad to. And I got to say, watching the meeting from back there is very different than that's Cito.
Boring, right?
Chantel improved upon everything. There's always a little bit of a risk because up until now and really through the events of my retirement, I just had a hard time saying to Damon how much he meant to me. But, he is just a remarkable man. The minute that I met him, I just understood what kind of person he is. And he has given his heart, soul, and his life's work to this community. And thank you, Damon. It's just, just a great team and made everything about the manager's role just so much better. And I know Chantel's put together a great team, so that legacy is going to continue. But Damon, thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to say something.
Great. Thank you. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Yeah. I just want to take the opportunity to thank Deputy County Manager Pratt for his service and commitment that is, very authentic, and very patient, very kind. And definitely when you're onboarding novice commissioners, even when you have some political background, the county commission role is, a little different than a school board role. And so I appreciate your willingness to sit in your office and truly, spoon feed me as a newbie, as a commissioner, to help me to understand better some of the high-level information in order to do my best to represent the citizens of Forsyth County. I think that this is a great day because we get to honor a great man who have committed his life to service in his community. And so I want to not only thank you, but thank your family for obviously the sacrifice for you to be here and serve, because I'm sure you could have been somewhere making a lot of more money and less stress, but you decided to dedicate your professional career to service in the community, and that is such a, in my opinion, an honorable task. So I thank you and your family, and definitely wish you well, and I look forward to being with you in the community, continuing to serve. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, as the other new kid from the class of 2022, I have to echo the degree to which Mr. Sanders Pratt was always ready with an explanation that was both candid and good-humored, and which will remain off the record, about any topic of concern. And it particularly puts me in mind of his tireless work dealing with the specifics of the animal services controversies with which we were greeted when we first arrived on the commission, and with commendations for the success in your work in managing that role as well. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, one thing about Damon, I've said it about the manager too, as he's got one of the best temperaments for the kind of job he's had, dealing with all of the difficulties. I wouldn't know where you learned yours either, but nevertheless, you got it, and it's just not many. There's a lot of people, but people in the kind of work you and the manager have done for many years, when they can hold that temperament down where it needs to be, but what you deal with is it's just really at the top, I think. Damon and all of the things I've seen him do work, he's put great efforts into all of it. Sometimes I'd be sitting in my office and Damon be passing by, and I would call him by name, and he'd dash in there, and I would have something that I wanted to know about, and I just ask him something, and he says, well, I'll go check. And I said, no, I don't want you to do it just right now. Just do it whenever you got time to do it. So he was always ready to do something on the dime if needed to be, but I tried not to rush him because I knew he had many things to do. And then often he would come by and just stop to visit a little bit. And I think sometimes he was maybe a little reluctant because he figured if he'd come in, I'd have some questions for him. But I give him a pass several times. He'd come by and would just talk a little bit, and he'd go on. So I tried to relieve some of the pressures of his job. So, Damon, you've done good and really good. And I hope you have a good retirement. And I've said many times, if there's anything that you and your wife hadn't done that you've set aside and didn't want to do, go ahead and do it as soon as you can.
Great advice. You gonna say anything? Okay, good. Well, I'm going to say a couple things at the reception, but there's a consistent theme here, and we've got an audience here, but probably bigger. I'll just share just a couple thoughts, and I did, so to avoid rambling, I did kind of make a note or two, but I might say that over the last 10 years, you all might imagine the number of issues, particularly in the areas that Damon deals with. I've sent him or forwarded him a whole lot of messages about a whole lot of things. And I'd like to say that he has always responded promptly, and he provides a very thorough answer, usually with some of the background history, or he says, well, this is what we have done and this is what we will do, and it was always very complete and usually resolved whatever those issues are. And I have certainly found him courteous to everyone, and I have never seen him angry. Now, your family might say something a little different, but I've never seen it. And for those of us who are a little older, and there are a few of us in this group, I think you're cool, calm, and collected, and you really are. Thank you. And while serving as chairman and vice chairman, I can't leave this out. I've had the pleasure of participating in quite a few sort of ceremony, groundbreaking dedication ceremonies, and Damon usually, I think always has provided some draft comments to use on these special occasions, and I actually used some of his remarks today at a Humane Solutions event out at the Animal Services, and he's already written something for next week, but we have a groundbreaking for the Highland Avenue Park. So he's a very creative writer, and he always he added some humor, a lot of good historical background, and information related specifically to that project. So I've talked to him a couple times about his retirement. I just double checked today to make sure I was right. He is planning. This writing is a serious thing. He actually has plans to do some research on a book really about some of the key players in the origins of Washington and Lee. And he is going to write a book. I mean, he's going to do some research and write a book, and I think that is great. So, Damon, as you embark on this new chapter in your life, I certainly want to thank you for your service to Forsyth County, and it has been significant. It's been a very significant impression on this community, and we all wish you well. All righty. I guess it's time for a motion to adjourn, and we'll go into the, so I make that motion. We have a second? Second. We're adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. These are the items for consideration for the August 15th, 2024 meeting. We have two public hearings. One is a zoning petition of Renaissance Childcare, Inc. from LOL to GOL. Chris Murphy, our planning director, will brief this item.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
It's been so long since I've been up here to actually brief anything, I've kind of forgotten how to do it. Just kidding. As the county manager did say, this is a zoning petition of Renaissance Childcare to rezone approximately, am I good? Oh, you're good. It's probably just says presentation. It's going to be that one. I forgot. Thank you. It's approximately 2 acres on the southeast, at the southeast intersection of Stowers Ferry and Kenny Road. It is a request to go from limited office, limited use, or LOL, to general office, limited use, to add the use child care drop-in. That use is not allowed in the limited office zoning district, but is allowed in the general office district. This is the subject property shown on the Legacy Growth Management Area Plan. It is located in GMA 3, there just to the north of Louisville, northeast of Louisville Clemens Road and US 421. This is the subject property highlighted in yellow. Again, you do note that it is currently an existing developed property, has been used for a daycare in the past, and it is zoned LOL. Subject property again shown on the countywide aerial imagery. This is the subject property shown in the West Suburban Area Plan update. It does show it as an institutional recommendation, that is consistent with how the property has been used as a child daycare center. Again, they are continuing forward the uses they have in their limited office request and requesting to add the use child daycare drop-in. This is looking at south into the subject property from Kenny Road. This is looking east along Kenny Road. The subject property would be to the right. This is looking west along Kenny Road. The subject property is to the left. And this is looking north across Kenny Road. The subject property is opposite of this perspective, or to the rear of the photographer. The request generally conforms with the recommendation of Legacy 2030 and the West Suburban Area Plan update. The request proposes to redevelop an existing child care facility at this location. That is convenient to area residents, again, for the use child care drop-in. The request is inconsistent with the parcel-specific recommendations for the subject property. Institutional zoning districts are recommended. However, the existing and requested uses do align with the typical impacts of an institutional zoning district. This was heard by the Planning Board at their June 13th, 2024 public hearing. There were no speakers in opposition, and the Planning Board did vote unanimously to recommend approval of this request to the commissioners. And with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Chris?
It appears that the property between the subject property and Stowers Ferry Road is undeveloped.
It is between Stowers Ferry and the subject property is already a daycare as well. It is zoned RM12S.
Okay.
If my cursor shows up, that property there is an existing daycare facility located on the corner of Kenny and Stowers Ferry.
Did it predate the zoning, or was it given a variance?
RM12 allows the use child daycare center.
Okay, got it. So the requested use is in keeping with the existing neighbor to the, yeah.
Correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, agenda item number 2 is also Mr. Murphy's. It's a public hearing on a text amendment proposed by Planning and Development Services staff modifying chapters 3, 5, 6, and 11 of the Unified Development Ordinances.
Which one? Thank you. Yes, this is a text amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance to revise standards for both child and adult daycare uses. This amendment was prompted by a change in state regulations for family child care homes, which is comparable to our small home child care use in our UDO. The state expanded the allowed capacity from 8 to 10 in those types of daycare arrangements. So in light of that, and in light of some comments that we had heard from the public who own daycares and were interested in being able to expand based on these legislation, comments that we have heard at our comp plan meetings about the shortage of daycare. An article, actually, of course, it didn't prompt this, but there was an article in the Triad Business Journal as recently as Monday talking about the issues with the lack of child care in North Carolina and locally. So all those things served as an impetus behind this amendment. We wanted to look at it more comprehensively. So we took this opportunity to review and revise the regulations for all daycare uses. We did conduct a review of our peer communities, which are listed there. 2 of these communities allow for a maximum of 15 children to receive daycare in a residential setting. 3 cities allow for a maximum of 8. But again, they may also be investigating their own regulations in light of the changes to the statutes. This was the research we did back in early spring. Our UDO is unique in that it currently has 2 different uses for regulating in-residence child daycare services, both small home and large home, and that is based on the number of children. Of course, if we're looking to revise this state statute, that difference gets more narrow, and that led to some of the changes that we did, that we are recommending. Within the Triad, both Greensboro and High Point do allow in-residence child care services by right in all of their residential districts. All of our peer communities allow commercial daycare uses to be established by right with conditions within their common non-residential districts. This amendment expands the number of zoning districts which daycare uses are allowed in by right. All daycare uses are allowed by right within all non-residential zoning districts except GI. Currently, some of the daycare uses require either a planning board review or a special use permit from the Board of Adjustment to establish those daycares in many of those non-residential districts. This takes that back to a simple zoning review that goes to staff, just like with any other commercial plan review. This amendment also combines the current small home and large home child daycare uses into a single use, now called child daycare home. This new use would be allowed by right in all zoning districts except general industrial. And the child daycare home use is limited to being established in a private residence and as an accessory use to churches and religious institutions. Additional child care use provisions, the capacity of the child daycare home use is 3 to 12 children when any child is preschool aged, and up to 15 children when all children are school age. And again, that's similar to the current large home limits. So we're looking to take those 2 uses and combine it into one. This amendment also does alter the standards for daycare accessory uses to schools and religious institutions. Currently, the requirement is that the church or school has to operate the daycare. What this basically, it allows for a private entity to come into the church or the school to operate a daycare. Again, we shouldn't be concerned with who's operating it as long as it is allowed in that district. So that's the other change that we have proposed as part of this amendment. Again, the general purpose is to encourage the establishment and expansion of daycare uses. This also could improve our area's economy as child care services support labor force participation, and that was some of the article that was in the Business Journal this week. Staff believes these revisions simplify the ordinance for users and brings us into alignment with our peer communities. This was heard by the Planning Board at their March 2024 public hearing. There were no speakers in opposition, and the Planning Board did unanimously recommend approval of the request. This did make it through the City Council's process of going to both committee and to the full council, and there were no speakers in opposition there, and the council did ultimately did approve this request. And with that, I'm glad to answer any questions.
Questions for Chris? All right. Thank you.
Okay. The remaining agenda items we will fully brief next week. Agenda item number 3 is a resolution approving legislative goals and submission of such goals to the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners for consideration at its Legislative Goals Conference. Our attorney, Gordon Watkins, did place a a draft in front of you. If you have any changes or anything you'd like to add, please just let him know, and he'll brief that next week. Agenda item number 4 is an approval of minutes for the meeting of July 25th, today. And then we have several budget finance items. Agenda item number 5 is a resolution authorizing submission of the fiscal year 24-25 Home and Community Care Block Grant County Funding Plan for older adults and authorizing execution of necessary documents to submit the plan for state approval. Agenda item number 6 is an amendment to the fiscal year 24-25 budget ordinance to appropriate $231,802 from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services for Agreement Addendum 719, which is the Bridge Access Program for COVID-19 vaccines. Agenda item number 7 is an amendment to the fiscal year 24-25 budget ordinance to appropriate $16,900 of fund balance for the Family Justice Center security cameras. This was a previously approved PAYGO project that didn't get started last fiscal year. Agenda item number 8 is an amendment to the fiscal year 24-25 budget ordinance to appropriate $746,644 from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services for Agreement Addendum 546, which is the communicable disease pandemic recovery. Agenda item number 9 is an amendment to the fiscal year 25 budget ordinance to appropriate $50,000 from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services for Agreement Addendum 121, which is ARPA TSF Public Health Services. Agenda item number 10 is an amendment to the fiscal year 25 budget ordinance to appropriate $63,421 from DHHS for Agreement Addendum 403 for the WIC program. Number 11 is a resolution authorizing execution of a $94,902 agreement with the Bradley Group to provide temporary employment services for grant-funded programs at the Department of Public Health. Agenda item number 12 is a resolution ratifying and authorizing execution of an interlocal agreement between Forsyth County and the Winston-Salem-Forsyth County Schools for comprehensive school public health nursing services for medically fragile and special needs children. Agenda item number 13 is a resolution authorizing execution of a $425,000 agreement with Hologic Sales and Service, LLC, to provide use, maintenance, and support of laboratory equipment and purchase of reagents and laboratory supplies. Agenda item number 14 is a resolution authorizing execution of an agreement not to exceed $115,000 with Medic Staffing Solutions to provide temporary employment services for clinical operations at the Department of Public Health. Agenda item number 15 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of COVID-19 vaccines from Moderna, Pfizer, and Novavax, totaling $150,000. Agenda item number 16 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of non-influenza vaccines from Sanofi Pasteur using the MCAP Infused Group Purchasing Organization. It's not to exceed $215,000. Agenda item number 17 is a resolution ratifying and authorizing execution of a $16,000 interlocal agreement between Forsyth County and Davidson County on behalf of their respective health departments for us to provide laboratory testing to Davidson County. Agenda item number 18 is a resolution ratifying and authorizing execution of an interlocal agreement between Forsyth County and Guilford County for the Improving Community Outcomes for Maternal and Child Health Program in an amount not to exceed $206,081. Agenda item number 17 is a resolution approving the agreement with Propio for telephonic, written, and virtual interpretation services not to exceed $66,000. Number 20 is a resolution authorizing execution of a 2-year agreement between Forsyth County and the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Social Services, specifying the mandated performance requirements and administrative responsibilities with regard to all social services programs other than medical assistance. Agenda item number 21 is a resolution ratifying and authorizing execution of an interlocal agreement between Forsyth County and the Winston-Salem-Forsyth County Schools for the provision of school resource officer deputy services. This is at 25 schools in an amount $4,732,610. Agenda item number 22 is a resolution awarding a $97,600 contract to Capital Marketing Solutions to provide ballot printing and packaging services for the Forsyth County Board of Elections. Agenda item number 23 is a resolution approving $68,835 of purchase of EZIO, I can't say the next word, some devices for emergency services that you have been briefed on previously. Agenda item number 24 is a resolution authorizing an agreement with Perkinson Law Firm for lobbying and advocacy representation services for the North Carolina General Assembly. Agenda item number 25 is a resolution authorizing execution of a 5-year agreement not to exceed $610,585.20 with Textron Easy Go LLC and a lease agreement with PNC Equipment Finance for lease of golf carts at Tanglewood Park. Agenda item number 26 is a resolution authorizing execution of a $49,423 amendment to the 3-year agreement with Schindler Elevator Corporation for elevator and escalator maintenance services. It covers 11 elevators and 2 escalators. Agenda item number 27 is a resolution selecting and authorizing execution of a contract with Kleinfelder, Inc. to provide construction materials testing and special inspection services for the 4001 North Liberty Street EDA grant project. And then we have a few property matters. Agenda item number 28 is a resolution authorizing execution of a nominal 3-year lease between Forsyth County and the state of North Carolina on behalf of its Department of Public Safety for lease of county-owned property located at 5580 Sturmer Park Circle. Agenda item number 29 is a resolution authorizing execution of a 4-year lease in an amount $25,330 on an annual basis between Forsyth County and the state of North Carolina on behalf of the Department of Public Safety for the lease of county-owned property located at 301 North Church Street. Agenda item number 30 is a resolution authorizing execution of a lease agreement between Forsyth County and the city of Winston-Salem for the lease of space in a county-owned building located at 741 Highland Avenue. This is at DSS. It's a temporary space to operate their housing assistance program until their permanent space is constructed. It's 550 square feet. Agenda item number 31 is a resolution declaring certain county-owned personal property surplus and authorizing its disposition by public electronic auction utilizing liquidity services operations. And then we have a tax item from the tax assessor and then some human resources reports.
I do have, thank you, County Manager Robinson. I do have a request in light of constituents being concerned about our hub and MWBE commitment that based on the contracts, if at least I can get information regarding the status of the vendors, whether they are MWBE hub certified businesses with the amount that we are ultimately being asked to, award the contract for.
Is that for this particular agenda item or the previous? Because I sent you a report on the previous ones. Is this just going forward?
Going forward, yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Any other questions or discussion?
One short question about item number 15, the vaccines. So Novavax has completed its trials and been approved?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
All righty. We can stand adjourned and go to our reception.